All right. Hey, welcome to another edition of What's Good with John and Joyce. You can find us on all streaming platforms. And I'm John Cadillac Seville from iHeartRadio and John Seville Entertainment. And you...
Our Joyce Logan, his pal.
My pal, my buddy. We met over WPLR years ago, and we just...
Long friendship we've had. Yes.
Long time ago. When they used to have hamsters go around the wheel for power. Right?
Was it that far back?
Oh, maybe not quite. Maybe I'm exaggerating. What's Good with John and Joyce is sponsored by Woodwinds Wedding and Special Events Venue in Brantford, Connecticut, and Silvio's award-winning Italian sauces, which you could buy anytime online at silviosauces.com. That's silviosauces.com. We'd like to thank our sponsor, New England Collision. From the time they pick up the phone and receive your initial call until the time they deliver your repaired vehicle back to you, your satisfaction and safety is their number one priority. New England Collision. And they were established back in 1996. So relax. It was just an accident. Go to necollision.com. TechFix provides expert repair services for laptops, desktops, home networks, and smart devices. Matthew Rader and his certified technicians are equipped to handle both hardware issues and software glitches, ensuring your devices are back in working order quickly and affordably. For more information, go to techfixct.com. That's techfixct.com, techfixct.com. But it's just so good to be here once again, and thank you so much for watching and or listening. It means a lot. And it means a lot that we have a very, very special guest here today that I really admire a lot. I had a chance to meet him about 3 or 4 years back. And this guy, he has a faith that I really admire a lot. But he was really on the cusp of, he was in a hospital for a while because he was working so hard for his family. His motive and intent is always to bless other people. And then somebody pulled him aside, I think a family member, and said, Joe, you really got to get your act together and come up with something, maybe read some books, develop some, emotional maturity in some areas, right? Which I'm still working on, quite frankly. But you've done so well. I mean, you teach dads how to get home with their kids. You have multiple businesses. You're successful at everything you do. And most of all, you're a really good person. You're a philanthropist. And Joyce, I know you met...
I met you once, Joe, and I just thought, what a terrific person you are. You're very special.
Yeah, thank you.
And we actually...
Is Joe Perrone.
Joe Perrone.
Joe Perrone.
So I only knew Joe from being the owner of New England Collision.
Yeah.
And I shared a story with him because I wish I had met him in December when I had my head-on collision. Someone hit me head-on. And it was a very scary, unknown time. I mean, especially you're taken away by ambulance and I don't know where my car is. I don't know how to navigate that. And when you have an attorney that is a, what do you call it? It's for what? Injury.
Personal injury.
Thank you. A personal injury. Well, personal injury doesn't really cover where your car is and how to deal with the insurance company. So I was so grateful to have met you now. I hope I never need you in the future, but I will certainly pass that on because your company's you're like the concierge of accidents where call you and you handle everything. And I know that's just one of the things we're going to talk about.
And Joyce, and I'll talk from a personal experience really quickly because I went to Joe once as well for a banger in the back of my car. And the minute I walked in, I was greeted with smiles from everybody that was working on the cars, the worker bees to the gentleman behind the desk. And Joe checked up on me many times to make sure everything was fine. So I feel like I'm in a lavish hotel here, the way I'm treated by everybody. But
fancy.
Seriously, and I'm going to recommend everybody to you, and I have. But Joe, we're going to let you talk right now because we're babbling a little bit too much. But welcome to What's Good with John and Joyce.
Yeah, thank you both for having me. Love the show.
Thank you.
Definitely love what the content that you guys are putting out, and I've definitely resonated with that myself. And what's good is just such a blessing to me. So thanks for having me on. And my name is Joe Perrone, and I own New England Collision, but I'm a dad. I'm investor. Do a lot of different things, and in a different season of my life right now, with my boys Bruno and Marcello. And
Love those names, Bruno and Marcello.
yeah, and it's
Yes.
you know,
You got to say
Madalena.
Marcello.
Yeah,
Madalena,
yeah,
her name.
yeah, we're a bunch of Irish, you know, no Italian
That's right.
blood there. But yeah, you know, it's a great season to be in, and you know, been blessed with a business, been blessed with a great business partner, been blessed with a great team, and yeah, it's a 1998. We started the business as workers, and now we've gone into full-time ownership over the last, you know, over a decade. You know, the time kind of it blurs after a while.
Yeah, it sure
but
does.
as you mentioned, Joyce, like that's one of the things that we offer is we do offer a concierge service because we've been in accidents before, and you know, it's such a process, and dealing with all of that, and dealing with for-profit insurance companies, and dealing with police departments and rental car agents. It's such a mess.
Yes.
You know, if you know how to navigate around that, and you have people that are willing to help you, and our front office staff is they're such kind people, and they're just so empathetic, and they have just a great presence. That's why they were hired, because they're extensions of myself and my business partner Mike. That's how we want to be handled. That's how we would want our parents to be handled. That's how we want our siblings to be handled. Like that's how we want.
It's a stressful situation. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Nobody is looking forward to going in there. You open up the door and you're not sure what you're going to get, and you take that stress and you give us ease.
Yeah.
You know, that anointment of ease as we kind of go into that doorway there. But let's go back to where it all began, kind of for you, because I've heard your story before when we've had coffee, and Joyce heard a little bit of, but for the audience, you basically came from a point where you were like really in dire straits. And I'm not talking about the band either, but there were some challenging times there for a while.
Cadillac has to bring the music.
Always got to bring the music metaphors.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you know what you're referring to is the period of time where new business owners, newly married, first son on the way. And was rushed to the hospital in the middle of the day. Didn't know, anxiety, panic, dehydrated.
How long ago was that,
You know, that was over a decade ago. So that was like in 2013, and you know, and yeah, it was. You know, you think you're invincible. You know, mid 30s, relatively healthy, but you take on too much stress, and you take on too much responsibility and stuff like that, and you know, thankfully, over a decade later, you find out that was all pre-programmed, decades prior to that. And, our environment programs us, you got to be a go-getter. You got to get after that. You got to, build.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Exactly.
Right.
We've all heard it. And to all the, the people out there that have grown up with that, I definitely empathize with that way of upbringing, because you're just in a constant mode of competition. It's never enough, no matter how much money you get, how much business you get, how big the house is, how nice the car is. It's never enough, and it never feels like enough. And then when you finally hit a wall, when like I did, and you say, the stress this is way too much, the pressure is way too much, all the things that I thought that I wanted, all the things that were, the world's markers of success, nice house, nice car, decent bank account.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not the end all be all.
Exactly.
But you weren't really enjoying it then, because you were always striving for the next thing.
It was never enough. Like, it was never enough. It was always something. It was always the next, get to the next plateau, and if it was, this much money in the bank, it was, that much more, and, 2X and 3X, and, all the vision boards and all the things were always dollar amounts, material things, things that could be very easily replaceable, could be easily gone, could be easily gained.
Right.
So that it was a humbling moment back in 2013.
So you're okay now.
Oh yeah, we're
I
good.
mean, so
well, that was the part
It's a
where
turning point, wasn't it, in a lot of ways?
Yeah, it was. And
so this was an unexpected health event that happened.
Yeah, right in the middle of a workday. We're pushing out cars, and we're getting people, getting them back in their cars, and we were the type of guys. hey, John, throw your keys on the deck. We'll just keep taking them. We'll just keep taking them.
Right.
You know, we'll get your car out. You know, hey, even if it puts us in the hospital, we'll get your car out.
That's what
Right.
You know, and that was something that, you know, my business partner and I, that's what we grew up on. That's everybody that we idolized, everybody that was, you know, our mentors and people in business. It was just be busy, just stay busy no matter what, just stay busy, because that was success. Until you're in St. Raphael's in the waiting room with, you know, a bunch of other people, and you don't know what's wrong with you. Your blood pressure's high, you're dehydrated, and you finally get to see a doctor, and he says, you know, you can't live like this. You're going to have to be on antidepressants medication for the rest of your life. You have a medical doctor telling you this.
That was a wake-up call.
That was a wake-up call. Yeah. To be on some kind of an antidepressant for the rest of your life, like that was the answer. That was their answer after all the medical school and everything.
And Joe, what
that
changed?
didn't vibe with me.
And what changed at that point on? You had a lot of time to think about it, okay? And now you acted on it. Some people hear that and they go back to the same old.
True.
You didn't. What'd you do?
Well, you know, one of my first mentors had recommended a book by Jim Rohn, and went through the book, and then I started really researching Jim Rohn. He was one of my early heroes of, you know, self-development. And he said it, and I you know, shook my head at it, but he said, if you want anything in your life to change, you have to change. And that hit me really hard. Like that was, I wanted to just resist that so hard and say, what do you mean? It's not the weather. It's not traffic. It's not the government. It's not bureaucracy. It's not, you know, whatever political party's in office. No, Joe, for anything in your life to change, you have to change. And it took me months. It took me a year to figure that out. And I said, well, okay, well, what do I change? You know, how do I change? What about everybody else? And I was so worried about what's everybody else doing. And I kept going back. For anything in your life to change, you have to change. For anything in your life to change, you have to change. So I began making lots of changes.
Wise man.
And
You got the message.
And what was the first change you made?
Oh my gosh. You guys I'll make you laugh.
Yeah, go ahead.
So up until that point, the only book that I had in the house, we had a Bible, which was very dusty.
Right.
And we had one of those bathroom joke books. So that's all.
Yeah.
But the joke was on me because in, you know, all of our libraries, now we have them on our phone. We have our Kindle. You could have a mentor a day. You could have a brand new mentor every day, right? You know, you think about it. Somebody writes a book. They pour decades. They pour a lifetime into 200 pages for you to read. How foolish are we sometimes if we don't pick up that book and read what they've been through, you know, what they've learned, you know, success, you know, defeats, you know, how they did it. Like how foolish are we? And that's to the degree of foolish that I was, because I didn't own any books.
Yeah. And all that knowledge they're pouring out for really, you know, pennies when you really think about the knowledge you're getting from these people, just emulating them. And they help you eliminate some of the pitfalls in a way too. They can get you to where you want to go quicker by they're letting you know what they did and what they didn't do. And you picked up on that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of people say, well, what books do I read? You know, you see what's on top of the New York Times bestseller list, or you see different people recommend you a book. And it really, I see that as a little bit of a problem because, you know, until you know exactly what the problem is, you know, throwing a book at it won't help. You know, so I knew at that point it was really anything on personal development. Like, what can I do if anything in my life has to change? I have to change, right? Okay, well, what do I change? What do I start working on?
Where do you begin?
Yeah, where do you begin? And you know, kind of a long way to say this, but after every book, and I could, if you ever want to attach it to the show notes, I could show you my library of books. It all comes back to the Bible. No matter what book, every single self-help book on this planet, on the shelves, that you have all of it.
The basis is
All of it. I will challenge anybody to.
Story
I will
told.
challenge anybody on this. It's back to biblical principles.
100%. Yeah.
You know, and but the books I did read, these people were, Les Brown, Jack Canfield,
Zig Ziglar.
Norman Vincent Peale.
Love all those books. Love them. all.
Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics.
All these guys, yeah.
And Psycho-Cybernetics was probably one of the first books that I read that really helped me understand more of the mechanics of what was going on. And it was, setting your mind to what you wanted and the thoughts and what you thought. But that goes back to the Bible, as a man thinketh.
It does.
So those books were really pivotal. But the process of sitting down and reading was probably one of the hardest disciplines that I had to relearn and do. And it was that was one of the hardest things, was sitting down and reading and humbling myself and
I tell people, even if you
change.
only take one chapter a day or a week, just sit with it. If a book is speaking to you, take your time with it and really let it absorb into your body, your mind.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah, and I kind of brushed back at my mentor and saying, "Here, I want you to read these books and go through these books." I'm like, I don't have time to read. And that was the number one. That was the first thing that I had to change. We have all the time in the world, right? We have the same 24 hours. Yeah, you've heard it. You've heard all of these phrases. You have the same 24 hours in the day. We all have the same 24 hours. But it was what we do with that time and how we manage that time. And it was, I could sit down for 3 hours and watch a ball game.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say TV, like if you cut out one program, perhaps. Yeah.
So it was like first change, reorganize your time.
Right.
Okay, instead of watching 3 hours of the baseball game, maybe watch 2 hours and 45 minutes, and the other 15, let's spend some time in this book.
You know what, Joe, I did too. Instead of watching my favorite football team, which is horrible because they always lose and get me frustrated anyway, I watched the highlights. So you could watch all these games in just a 3-minute vignette.
Right.
And that take time to do other things, but you have to be intentional about what you do, because the world is vying for your time. There's so much going on out there. It's easy to get on Facebook and Instagram and scroll for hours. You have to set time aside, like Joyce said, be intentional about it. 15 minutes a day can change it. Or get up a half hour earlier in the morning. Read, get close to God, whatever, meditate, whatever you want to do, and take care of your spirit, mind, body. Yeah. And we talk about that.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning, take care of that, do some exercising, and just prepare yourself for the day. And it's amazing how things can change rather quickly.
True.
And there's another old saying, which is so, so true, and that's what happened with you, Joe, is that when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, I love that.
So you had to be pushed into a hospital bed and to get ready, and the teacher, the book, appeared. And that's how it usually happens, because what would resonate with you may not resonate with me, but you could read 10 books. It's some obscure book could say something, and that one sentence sometimes is like, whoa, I never thought of it this way before. And then it just opens your mind to the possibilities that are given to us and within us.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Now, you have multiple businesses, I know, in New England Collision we were talking about. You're invested in other businesses. But what really has gotten my attention is what a great dad you are. There's a lot of dads watching right now, and they love to have more time with their kids, because how many dads are working and they miss the key times in their kids' lives? And you were on the road to that. Yeah. But now I see everything on social media with you. You have so much time posting your kids, Bruno and Marcello, what they're doing, the martial arts, the discipline they have, going to school, seeing how well dressed they are. You're just a great dad. Tell me about that.
Oh, man. That's one of the, I was talking to somebody about that this morning, and, you don't realize how hard of a job it is to be a parent at home, present,
yes.
there, making the breakfast, making the lunches, correcting the homework, driving to the sports, it's a lot. And it's actually the hardest job. It's very easy. I think the easiest thing that I ever did was get in the car, drive to work, spend 8 hours to 10 hours there, finish, stop and have a beer or something, and drive home. That was easy.
Yeah.
That was the easiest thing ever. Now, through systems, through changes that we made, my business partner and I are able to be hands off in the business, give other people opportunities to have careers for themselves and do what they love to do. And I'm able to spend an enormous amount of time with my children. I don't miss a bus stop. I don't miss a practice, every day, and we're in it. And it's definitely a blessing, and something I look forward to. And that's another thing you have to change. You have to be prepared for that.
Yes. It just reminds me of something that was brought to my life recently, and how important it is to be present. And I won't say any names because I don't have the permission, to talk about it. So I'll just say that my husband and I helped out someone that was in need. And due to circumstances, they weren't going to be around. And their 3 children, there was no one there to, take care of them. So we committed to do this. It ended up that we ended up actually living there for 6 months and taking care of our own families and going back and forth. But the one daughter is writing a book, and she sent me part of the book not too long ago. And it floored me to read this. She said, because my husband he got up very early in the morning, so he made breakfast for them. So she wrote that while they could easily have made their own English muffins, he would ask them what they wanted. And one wanted it dark, one wanted it light. And she said, I never felt so much love in an English muffin. And it was, wow, the littlest things that you do for someone, for your children at a young age, they're carrying that with them. They'll always remember that, Joe. So, it's
thank
beautiful.
Thank you for that story. Yeah, and it's
Love in an English muffin. Yeah,
that's right.
Joe makes a mean English muffin.
Yes.
That's what I hear. I've heard rumors.
Oh, we bake bread. There's always smell of baked bread or some kind of baked goods in the morning. And you're right, Joyce. And there's sometimes where I think about that, and it takes me back to my childhood where, my dad would make the Sunday sauce. Oh God! And you wake up on a Sunday morning, and there's that Italian Sunday sauce smell going, and that it's comforting. It's
making
you
those
feel
memories.
Care. Yeah, you feel so cared about, and you just said it, making memories. That was my grandmother's favorite thing to say. When she was alive, she lived on our 3rd floor for many years. We had a 3-family house, and she had the penthouse suite.
Okay.
And we would go up there as kids and go cook with her, and she had no idea that any of this was appealing to, a 9 or a 10-year-old kid. And, just looking back at it now, it's like you'd see those little acts of, well, Joseph, what would you like? Make you this after school, or make you that after school, make you that snack. And, if she was here now, she would see, Joseph, you see how much work it is to.
Yes.
But she always said, "We're making memories." That's so true, and I'm glad you said that.
And see the impact we make on people's lives by the way we treat them. I mean, look, you're talking about your grandmother all these years later, and how we associate certain smells with our childhood, with the sauce. And I remember going home on Sunday afternoons after going out and playing football in the morning or basketball, and I'd open up the door and the smell just permeating the room of mom and dad with the cooking whatever they're doing in the crock pot, all that. And you're doing that now because you have that time to spend with your kids. Like you said, it's the hardest job, but at the same time, it's got to be the most rewarding job. And I say that in quotations, but you're there for them, and they're going to remember that forever. And they're going to hopefully pass that on to their kids down the line.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's, saying that it's a hard job, it's so true. And many parents would empathize with it. And like you said, it is those small things that we have no idea. We're just doing them. We're just out of our our being, just kind of unconsciously doing these things, and they see every little thing.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
even myself now working on, being present, no cell phones. Like, dinner, we sit down, the four of us, and there's no cell phones, and there's,
You actually have conversations, look each other in the eye?
we do.
Wow, I love
We
it.
do.
I love it.
And the maturity I see in my sons, where they can say hello to somebody and look them in the eye.
Oh, that's great.
They could shake their hand, and you're
Yes.
not ashamed to look at somebody, or they've got like such confidence, and you don't realize that these little things that you're teaching them along the way, and they're just getting it.
Right.
And,
Right.
raising good
I
humans.
love
What's
that.
better than that?
But I love that about you. Like you said, like he's so busy, you're so busy, but you learn to prioritize.
Yeah.
And what you focus on, you can create. And again, I go back to you being in the hospital bed, and you started then and there to create the life that would benefit you and your family. But it had to begin with you, because unless you put your oxygen mask on first, you couldn't take care of anyone else.
It's true.
Well,
It's true.
Yeah.
And to add to that point, it's nobody really wants you at 70%. I've learned, nobody wants you at 60 or 70%. They want you at 100%. And that's a piece of programming that we've adopted, that, I'll take care of this person. And we see helping others, and, we're selfless. Like, I can't worry about me. I can't. No, you have to, when we say treat others as you would want to be treated. Well, if you're not setting the bar for yourself, like I
Yes.
always admire you for your
Yes,
fitness.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
John,
Your fitness, you take such
epitomized
good
that.
care of yourself and your diet. And we've texted you, hey, go for lunch. You say, I'm on a fast, and I'm so in admiration of that, because you're committed to that. And it just goes to show you that, but look how much you have to give out to other people.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like,
and you
I don't know if I would
able to
want
do
John at 60. I wouldn't want stressed out John.
Right.
But you're taking such good care of yourself, and you see such a priority in that. And other people might see that as like, oh, I could never do that. I could never take care of myself. But we want you at 100%, because look at John at 100%.
Yes.
I love John at 100%.
Well, the thing is, and Joyce and I talk about this too, and Joe, and you take care of yourself, Joyce. I mean, you're committed to working out as well. Functionality. The thing is, we're here for a finite amount of time, and we owe it to our family, our friends, the people that we work with, to be operating, like you said, at 100% or as close to as we possibly can.
Right.
And God's given us this amazing temple. Let's take care of it. We all can do it. So many people say, I'm not sure. No, sure you can. It's just a decision. You made the decision in the hospital. Joyce, you made a decision many times when you've had things that could have stopped you in your life, and me as well. And, of course, many of you, everybody watching and listening right now, and you can do it. I can't wait to read the book that you're writing. Are you writing a book?
It's coming along. It's coming along.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's more of a living book right now than I'm living it chapter by chapter. So,
Right. Right.
But you got to let us know when it's out, because we want everybody to know about it.
And I am documenting it, but it's a lot of
good.
documentation.
Good.
Yeah.
Your story needs to be heard by the masses.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's, sometimes you don't know where to start, because it's like there's just so much.
But
It's
just
so-
start.
Yeah.
There's a great writer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I bring him
I
a
love
lot
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
because I just love, he's a great philosopher. And he said to begin a book, he would he'd make up an image for the cover, and he would just sit it next to his computer. And he would just look at the cover, and then the thoughts would come to him about the book. So maybe you think of a name.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be permanent. It could change the name.
Well, I have the name.
Oh, well, there you go.
But you can't unveil the name now.
I can. Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can't? What's the
You
name?
guys are friends. We're
Okay.
all
We're all friends here.
That's right.
Living Proof.
Living.
Oh,
Living Proof.
perfect.
And
That
that's
was a song by, we're going, because you like country music,
Of course.
Ricky Van Shelton
Ricky
and
Van
Hank
Shelton.
Williams Jr., Living Proof.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, we're digging deep. We're doing
You know where I went?
Cuts.
That's the deep cuts, yeah.
I went into the kitchen because I love baking. So when you bake bread, the dough has to proof.
Right.
So, and bread is like what? Life,
Mm-hmm.
so living proof. is
Yeah.
perfect.
That's a great. Yeah, I didn't think of the bread angle.
Right.
Yes.
It's like the song MacArthur Park, you're baking the cake of the rain, right?
What does that song mean?
It doesn't mean, I don't know what it means. I could eat, I'm like squirrel. My wife always says, squirrel, focus. Sorry about that.
You got the weave, Jeff.
Exactly. I do it all the time, though, Joe and Joyce. But Joyce knows that. So
That's great.
But Joe, you've been fantastic. I mean, good luck with your business.
Thank you.
New England Collision. So if you get into an accident, this is the man to talk to. I know you're doing many other businesses, which we'll hear about in the future, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Super Dad, a book is on the way, but you've blessed my life with your friendship, and you're blessing so many people's others' lives everywhere you go with your philanthropy and your mentorship. So thank you for doing what you're doing, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I love having you as you're a sponsor of our show. So we want you on more.
That's right.
And all of Joe's information is under our YouTube and wherever you listen to us.
The iHeartRadio Podcast Network as well, since we're over at iHeart. But thank you so much for watching What's Good with John and Joyce, and maybe you're listening to it. They say a lot more people listen than watch nowadays, which,
I don't know.
we-
Come over and watch and criticize us.
But Joe, thank you so much.
Very.
Oh, and thank you so much for having on What's Good with John and Joyce, and many blessings to you and your family.
And yes, remember to breathe, relax your shoulders, and all is well. We love you.
And just be a good human. God bless.
Good message. Be a good human. Yes.